Hello and welcome to yet another brand new power-packed episode of the Fly Kingfisher Winning Post with me, Chaiti Narula. I'm standing right here at Kranji at the Singapore Turf Club where all the racing action is taking place. Let's now take a look at the story of the champion horse Chase Me. Remember, trainer Desmond Goss secured the biggest win of his career when he won the Singapore Derby 2012 on this champion horse Chase Me. Take a look at the story.
The Group 1 Emirates Singapore Derby demonstrated that here was a thoroughbred who clearly relished the middle distance trip of 2,000 meters. It isn't surprising since the horse in question, Chase Me, has a dosage index of 1.57 and a dosage profile of 52812, 8 classic points and 3 stamina points. By Storm Creek, a son of Storm Cat out of Cartier Gold, the Chase Me mating traces back to two full sisters, How and Cherokee Rose, who are both by Prince Kilo out of the Squaw. There are also two strains of something royal through Secretariat, the dam sire of Terlingua, Storm Cat's dam, and through Sir Gaylord, who appears through Habitat in Huntingdale, the sire of Chase Me's broodmare sire, Gold Bros. Storm Creek won the Grade 3 Sheridan Stakes and was third in the Grade 3 Derby trial. Both races were over 1600 meters. While recent Storm Creek juveniles have done well with an inbreeding to Storm Creek's broodmare sire, Mr. Prospector, this is missing in Chase Me, who instead is inbred to Northern Dancer. Chase Me's broodmare sire is possibly an important influence in Chase Me's pedigree as well. Gold Bros won his first start in the Group 2 Silver Slipper at Rosehill. He won another Group 2 race in his 8-start career. Gold Bros was sent to stand at stud at the Westbury Stud in New Zealand and was advertised as being from the same sire line that produced champion sire Sir Tristram and the female line of the American champion Secretariat. Of his 16 stakes winners, the best two would be his two Group 1 winners Buzz Lightyear and Grout. As a broodmare sire, Gold Bros has produced 3 Group winners. Il Cielo Veloce, who won the Group 1 Manawatu sires, produced Classic, Miss Raggedy Ann, who won the Group 1 Railway Stakes, and R. Lucas, who won back-to-back Ipswich Cups. Now, with Chase Me added to this list, this looks to be a mating that could yield results again in the future.
Well, that was the story of the champion horse Chase Me staying with Singapore. Let's take a look at another big race. It is the Paititi Gold Trophy.
The Group 3 Paititi Gold Trophy over 1200 meters on the turf had the unbeaten 3-year-old Super Easy as part of the lineup. From Michael Friedman's yard, Super Easy had Morera on board, and despite stepping down in trip from 1600 meters and reappearing after 2 months, was the rage on the tote board. Super Easy had overcome a severely hampered passage to Stormholm in the Guineas on that occasion and would be taken on by 10 opponents. These included Waikato, the warhorse from Laurie Laxon's yard, who was joined in the saddle by Danny Beasley. Waikato would probably find it sharp, but was never out of the mix, as was the ever-consistent Captain Obvious from Steve Burridge's stable. Captain Obvious had run 2 fourths and a first in his last 3 starts and would have Oscar Chavez on board to guide him home. Yin Zin from Theo Kieser's yard had failed to find his best legs in the Chris Flyer sprint, and his drop down to Group 3 company brought him into the mix after the 2 months off. With the field lined up in the barriers, a sense of anticipation hung over Kranji, as it always does, to see an unbeaten champion look to extend a winning streak.
Morera just getting into the 3-year-old, and he begins to respond with this great acceleration down the outside. Yinzing is the leader in the Paititi Gold, but down the outside, Super Easy gave him and everything else windburn. He races away, unblemished, 11 from 11 for Super Easy, and he demoralises them again in the Paititi Gold. He's right down, Super Easy by 4 over Yinzing.
The race panned out perfect, you know, he sort of got a lovely trail up behind the leaders, and he's just got such a great turn of foot, and he's so versatile. And as I said, after the Guineas, he's just a pleasure to train.
He just jumped so good, and the pace was going very fast. That suited him. And I just tried to get him on the outside to give him a clear run, plenty of space to get him going.
Super Easy proved yet again that he is an absolute athlete. His versatility, temperament and turn of it keeps defining itself, and with over $1.25 million already to his credit, the son of Darcy Brahma looks to be next in line to successfully represent Singapore at international race meets.
Super Easy is unique. I mean, there just isn't enough to be said about him. He's a very special horse and very versatile. He clearly can win from 1200 meters all the way up to a mile. We saw him drop down from 1600 meters to 1200 meters from the Guineas to the to this Chaiti Gold Trophy. So you know, it's all very exciting to see a horse like this to do it the way he's doing it. He's got a tremendous turn of foot. He's yet to ever be beaten in Singapore, and I think it's going to be a long time before we see a horse come out and beat him. He will have to go international before we see the best of him, and that shouldn't be too long from now. He's really a truly super horse and a super ambassador for Singapore horse racing.
The unbeaten Frankel proved himself yet again. Partnered by Tom Queally, he won his second Sussex Stakes. Let's take a look at the story of Frankel and also take a quick look at the race. The unbeaten Frankel, partnered by Tom Queally, proved himself again, winning his second Sussex Stakes and 12th race overall at Goodwood. The world record for consecutive Group 1 wins is within reach for Frankel after this win. Frankel was sent out at $1.05 in the Sussex Stakes. Frankel's supporters had few concerns as he ran clear for a soft 6-length victory over Farr and Gabriel. By doing so, he equalled the widest winning margin in the Sussex Stakes set by Krakatoa in 1949. Is Frankel's racing career nearing an end? Perhaps yes, before he begins a new chapter as a top-of-the-line stallion. It is possible that he could have 3 more starts, taking his final tally to 15.
This is the moment. This is what makes him such a great racehorse. An instant turn of foot, and horses that are top class in their own right are made to look pedestrian. Frankel dismisses his rivals with contempt. 12 out of 12, a second Kipco Sussex Stakes, an 8th Group 1.
Now Frankel, well, he's a unique horse, obviously. I mean, the world knows that. I was lucky enough to see him at the QE2 last year at Ascot, but I think he's just matured to become a much better 4-year-old. Now it's interesting, he's won this very easily. I'd have liked not to have seen Tom Queally push him out the way he did. He's got the 10 furlong race for the first time in his life, just about 20 days from this last one. I would have liked him to have this one a bit easier. The last time I can remember seeing a miler who excited me as much as this was Miesk back in 1987. If you remember, when she went over a mile and a quarter in the Prix Diane, she got beat, but that was by Indian Skimmer, and that was when she was 3 years old. I have a feeling nothing will beat Frankel this time when he takes on everybody over the 10 furlong trip.
Well, that's all that we have for you on the International Racing Fever. Time now to take a quick break on the Fly Kingfisher winning post. When we come back, we fly straight to India and take a look at all the racing action. Welcome back. You're still with me on the Fly Kingfisher winning post. Now, there's a very interesting story we've got for you on this female jockey called Aperna Das, who was born in Visakhapatnam, was brought up in Bangalore, and is now pursuing a phenomenal career as a female jockey in the United States of America. Aperna started off her career as a wicketkeeper with Saeed Kirmani, and today is one of the champion leading young jockeys in the USA. We also ended up chatting up with Saeed Kirmani, who took us through this young and dynamic female jockey story. Let's take a look at the racing professional. The first Indian girl to get a US jockey license is the 23-year-old dynamic Aperna Das.
Hi, I'm Aparna and this is my story.
This 23-year-old youngster, born in Visakhapatnam and brought up in Bangalore, gives us a lowdown on how she decided to pursue horse racing as her career.
It happened in 2006 when I was in my second year going to college for biotech in Mount Carmel College, and my dad saw an article in the newspaper and he asked me if I wanted to try riding, but I hadn't seen horses earlier, so I was a little reluctant. But when I came to the race course and I saw the horses, I was like in love with them, and that's when I decided I was going to be a jockey. Yeah, I've been training here, but my dad wasn't really sure. We don't have any racing background. My family is not from any racing, so it was more like my dad was very reluctant. He wasn't sure how my opportunities were going to be in India. So he kept persuading me to focus on my studies and kept telling me like, okay, keep horse riding as your hobby. I know you like it, but then when and then I have my mentors here, like Sinclair Marshall. He was the one who kept suggesting that if you because he saw that I was like very passionate about racing and I wanted to make it as a career, and he was the one who suggested that if I really want to take it up as a career, India is not the right place for you, and you have an advantage that you speak English, so why don't you try outside? And that got me to thinking, and I just went online and researched about jockey schools across the world, and I've tried like everywhere, just tried contacting them, sending emails, and finally I found this North American Racing Academy in Kentucky, US, and I thought that was a perfect course. It's a 2-year program in equine studies, but with they even teach you riding if you get into the jockey program, but it was basically trying to get you to get full knowledge about the horse and how to take care of them, and everything from anatomy to veterinary to foal management. You had everything in the course. So that was sort of like a stepping stone for me, where I learned everything about the horse. The 2-year program gave me literally 10 years experience that I would have if I was in India. So it sort of like speeded up my process of getting the license there. And that's when I finished the school and did my internship with the leading trainers there, Todd Fletcher and Jonathan Shepard. And since then I just like moved on, worked hard, did a lot of freelancing, tried to make my business before I got my license. And once I figured like I had some business established, I applied for a license and I went through it.
A complete speed fanatic, she has been a skater, a cricketer and a go-karting champion. Speed is what excites her, and hence horse racing.
Originally, I've been like a speed fanatic since I was a childhood. I was into speed skating and I used to try a lot of go-karting, but it just turned out because of knee injuries and stuff I couldn't continue with sports, but I still had a heart for racing, and it just turned out, I mean, horse racing was never even my childhood passion, nothing. It just sort of happened by chance that I had like stopped my sports and started to concentrate on my studies, but it just happened that I started to like the horses and I decided this was going to be my career.
Her initial days as a woman into a men-dominated profession was tough.
Yeah, there have always been questions about if girls can ride, and it's sort of mostly associated with strength. That's the reason there's always a bias between like girls riding and boys riding. But then if you look at it, between the girls and the boys, the weight difference would probably be just a few pounds or a couple kgs. But then it's mostly to do with finesse and skills more than strength on the horse. Because if strength was the main aspect of riding a horse, I don't think any of these jockeys would be riding. You should probably have some boxers or wrestlers riding the horses.
Aperna chooses the United States of America over India to make her career, and here are her reasons why.
They generally try not to be like really biased between girls and boys. They do before they see you ride, but once they see you ride and you can ride, that's it. It's based on how good you can perform later, that's it. So it's not based on gender bias. Even if a boy comes to start riding, they always look to see if he can ride or not. Once he's established that he can ride, from there it's all about how much he can do from there.
From a wicket-keeper to a professional jockey racing in the USA, her cricket coach and inspiration, the veteran cricketer Saeed Kermani, takes us through this young Aperna's journey.
When I had started my cricket academy called Cricket with Kermani, that's where I had introduced the coaching for the girls. And she was an 8-9-year-old girl who wanted to become a wicket keeper. And now, after that, when I asked her, what are you doing right now? She shocked me by saying, I'm a jockey. It's a great feeling when they are a part of you at a tender age. They don't know where they are heading, and suddenly you see them at the international arena in whatever field it may be. It's like, for instance, Robin Uthappa Manish Pandey and Gautam. They are all playing for the state and India team as well. I didn't know that they were in my academy too. As small kids, right? And then they were selected when they came across and said, "Do you remember us?" The same thing
what I did.
right.
Overcoming disappointments and a few qualities that ensure survival for an athlete.
Disappointment is a part of life. It goes along with your life. You got to have that tendency, like she expressed and used the word tendency, to fight back and bounce back. This is what is required. This is what is called the sporting spirit, never to give up. You definitely come across all sorts of hurdles. But if you're disappointed and dejected and then back out, that's not the way to go about it. That's not the way you climb up the ladder of success. And that's it. That's the end of you if you say, I can't make it now. No. You got to, there's so many hurdles everybody goes through in any walk of life. I'm generalizing the whole issue. Not only in sport, you got to be very consistent. You got that's a major key, and to be honest in the efforts. And that pays at all times. Inspiration for all those women who are hearing us talk.
Actually, in US, the trend is like sort of shifting right now. From like people have started to believe that horses run better for the girls because they've stopped to think like strength is the biggest aspect of horse riding. I mean, skill, finesse, and fitness is like they play a major role more than strength in the thing.
Aperna is here to stay. She will continue racing overseas and make a solid career going forward. So far, she has had innumerable achievements. She takes us through them and tells us her most memorable one.
I mean, my favorite race would be my first race that I won on the turf. On Gone Straight, it was a 21-1 shot and came from behind and came into the photo with me, right? So that sort of freaked me out because a jockey came to me and he said, "I'm so sorry, I know you're looking for your maiden win, but I'm not sure you got it yet." I was like, oh, that was like, it was more like I was super scared to go back with the horse to my trainers because I figured I got beat just at the wire. And I thought I let a lot of people down, and I had like a lot of support that came to see me at the track. And after a while, I was just like going back. I was like fully off, and then the same jockey calls me and says, "Come on, hurry up! It's you who won the race."
The Team Fly Kingfisher winning post wishes Aperna a splendid career as an athlete. Well, quite an iconic personality right there, Aparna Das, who is, of course, making waves in the United States of America as a female jockey. On that note, let's take a quick break here on the Fly Kingfisher winning post. When we come back, we go over to Pune, where all the racing action is taking place. Welcome back. You're still with me on the Fly Kingfisher winning post. Time now to take a look at our weekly Kingfisher Trailblazers. This time around, we've got news from the Royal Western India Turf Club at Pune, where all the racing is taking place in India. Mahendra Malia now with all the racing fever straight from Pune.
Over in Pune, Brunello raised his levels and pulverized the opposition, winning the PRA Independence Million in style. For the proud trainer MK Jadhav, this was vindication time, as he had foreseen Brunello's staying talent and cast him over the longer trips.
Independence Cup was a big race. My father had won it 5 times, and this is the 5th time I've won it, so I'm very proud today that I've equaled my dad's record. This horse was all wrong when he first came to me. He was very unsound, and we've got him right. And I took a cue from, actually we were misled by the broodmare. His dam is a Sprinters Cup winner. So we were all the time running him in a 5 and 6, and he was showing no ability at all. But then when I saw Blue Ace winning that mile race as a baby, then I said I must also try this horse, because he's also by Al Nasser, who should be making him stay. So we've taken a chance here. He ran him in a 9 and now a 2000. He should improve more. He must improve more, because he's very well bred, and he's come right. So he should go from strength to strength.
Moving down south, the Bangalore summer season came to a a conclusion last week, and the horse that emerged a super performer was Indian Bolt. Well, Bolt now has become synonymous with blaze on the track as seen in the London Olympics. Indian Bolt surely lived up to that blaze. Seeking his fourth victory on the trot, Indian Bolt lined up alongside Class 1 rivals with favourite Atlantis, Tiberius and Kyles of Butte looming large in the set, racing for the VT Velo Memorial Trophy, an annual affair of the BTC calendar. A little over 400 to go now. It's Sunstone, still about 2 1/4 lengths in front of Wallahak in the middle. On the outside, Indian Bolt, 2 1/2, 3 lengths for the back. There is Atlantis beginning to make a move on the outside with about 300 meters more to run. Is Sunstone still about 2 1/4 lengths in front of Indian Bolt on the outside. Wallahak, they are closing in. It's Sunstone from Indian Bolt and Wallahak, and these three have pulled away. Atlantis is beaten with about 100 meters more to run. It's Sunstone from Indian Bolt and Wallahak. It's Sunstone from Indian Bolt and Wallahak. It's Indian Bolt on the outside who pips Sunstone. Then there's Wallahak in a close finish. After that there is Atlantis as they race past the finish.
Well, now it really seems that Indian Bolt has come into his own at the age of 5. It's interesting because most top professionals will agree that a horse really matures at the age of 5. What will be interesting to see is how he takes the step up into terms. He's won in Class 1 twice. It'll be interesting to see how he takes the step up into terms.
The final furlong saw a three-way fight between Sunstone, Wallahak and Indian Bolt powering their way to the finish. Champion jockey P.S. Chauhan was at his best and got Indian Bolt to throttle ahead impressively to win the race on the wire. Indian Bolt was later adjudged the horse of the season for his winning streak of 4 straight victories. Marking the concluding day was the prestigious Governor's Gold Cup. Toro Loco was the firm favourite and not without reason. He had proved to be a giant killer when he defeated In the Spotlight in the Maharajas Cup earlier in the season. Hills and Stars, who was on a downhill perhaps, had shown sparks of form in her previous outing, and she had a lot at stake too. The race provided a thrilling finish to the wire. Hills and Stars coming up next. After that there is Ridgeway with about 300 meters more to run. Star Marquis is now being called on the outside by Toro Loco, coming up with giant strides on the outside and going ahead. It's Toro Loco about 2.5 lengths clear of Star Marquis, and here comes Hills and Stars with a spirited run on the outside. It's Toro Loco from the fast finishing Hills and Stars. Toro Loco and Hills and Stars. It's Hills and Stars on the outside who just about wins the Governor's Cup from Toro Loco, finishing up second as they race past the finish.
It was great to see Hills and Stars again in the winner's circle. I think really highly of the filly. I think she's a lovely game filly, lovely easy action. I think her biggest problem is she's not a very big horse, so she's always fighting that one limitation. Having said that, she's really done well, and I think we'll continue to see her go on from here. It's turning out to be a real golden season for Padmanabhan, isn't it?
Hills and Stars was at the dead end of the field trying to maneuver her way, seeking a clear passage when Toro Loco was just starting to forge ahead with powerful strides. Hills and Stars, ridden by informed jockey Sandesh, launched an all-out attack in the final furlong, and the final push for home collared the favourite inches away from the winning post. This was the first victory in the Poonawalla colours, and this could well be a new beginning for the classy filly.
That was Mahendra Malia with all the action straight from Pune. That's all that we have for you on this power-packed episode of the Fly Kingfisher Winning Post. I will see you next weekend again from Kranji here at the Singapore Turf Club. Until then, may the horse be with you.